So this was When It Rains. This episode instantly takes off after the previous one, which was Catch and Release. Peridot is still in the bathroom, holding herself in there while Steven is getting himself ready for the day, aka the day that's, of course, raining. The Crystal Gems decide to to see if they can find any news about the geode, without having to interrogate Peridot because she still refuses to give out information. And Steven is just left. He's left in charge of keeping an eye on Peridot while he just spends the day at his house. And when thunderstorms start, popping up around Beach City, Peridot just loses her mind. She's like, "Oh my God, the cluster's here! Oh my God, we're all dead!" Like, she knows that the cluster has something to do with thunderstorms or just thunder in general, and that's why she's freaking out. Steven reassures her that, hey, it's okay, this is just something that happens on Earth, don't worry about it. Well, not basically those words, but he tries to reassure her that what's happening is something that happens regularly. And he goes out to show her that the rain's okay. It's nothing that will harm her. And it's just a very sweet moment with Peridot and Steven, mostly with Peridot, because you see that the camera angle, even though it's not live action, but still, the camera angle lingers on her. You see how she's processing this information and even questioning if she should trust Steven. Yes, he is one of the very few beings that has shown her any form of kindness and sincerity towards her. And when she goes out into the rain, of course, she's a little bit hesitant at first, but you see how she slowly but surely just goes with having faith in Steven, goes out into the rain and sees that, hey, it's okay, it's not harming me. And Steven just cheers her on like, yes, you did it, that's amazing, awesome, can't you isn't this cool? And just how Peridot takes her time before she in turn replies, yeah, cool, like that, like she is indeed agreeing with him. You see that this is something genuine. It's not intended as something bad. She completely went for it and got something positive out of it with Steven. And the scene afterwards, she decides by her own free will to tell Steven about the cluster. She's like, okay, you have shown me this, I'm gonna tell you about the cluster, like boom. And I know it's something a little bit too quick because of course any other good show would take its time, but with this you kind of see that Peridot is sincere, and at least she maybe considers Steven as a real friend, not as in just, oh, it's an escort or my informant, like with Lapis and Jasper. Well, mostly with Jasper being her superior. And you just see it in her face that she's sort of lowering her defenses with Steven. Steven is not a threat, nor is he forcing her to give her this information. She's just doing it willingly. And so she tells him that, hey, before I lost my limbs, I recorded a bit of information about the cluster and everything about it at the kindergarten, because she, with her limb enhancers, she had information in it. She is kind of like Sailor Mercury with her visor and her little computer, but Peridot knows a lot thanks to the screen and the limb enhancers that she had. And now she has a way of showing Steven information about the cluster, but in a log that she recorded at the kindergarten. She has certain information and she tells him, we should go to the kindergarten so I can show you this. And at first I thought maybe she is doing this to maybe trick him, maybe having him separated from the house and just sort of escape. But no, she legitimately shows him this kindergarten after he asks for. He only has one catch, and she even says, "Oh, I knew there's a catch." And he's like, "You and I should hold hands for the rest of the day before we come back." And that's it. That's the little thing, and it's so cute. It's not like any other thing, like, "Oh, you should give me this or that." No, it was just a little cute gesture. And so they go back to the kindergarten. This is like the 4th time we've seen the kindergarten in the show, I think. And they go back to the area where we saw Peridot on the screen trying to sort of reactivate the kindergarten, but it's mostly just getting information, like we've seen in the first season, and also when we last saw Peridot. And with that, we get to know about the little gem fusions that we've seen in the other episodes from Nightmare Hospital and also Keep It Together. In those episodes, we now get to know that these were just experiments. Earth was not deemed good for a planet to make more gems out of, but it's just like an experimental planet. Oh, sorry. And now we know that the cluster is something big. The other creatures we saw are just experiments, and this is something huge because we don't know what's gonna happen. We know that when this cluster emerges, basically Earth is doomed. Like, boom, explodes or something, dead. Everything dead. And oh my goodness, it's gonna be freaking horrible. It's gonna be awesome. Oh my goodness. And so we get to see information about how what the cluster is. It's a huge creation of thousands upon thousands of gem shards, which I bet are, of course, the crystal gems. They're allies, like we've seen in Keeping It Together. And oh my goodness, if the things we've seen before were bad, imagine what the cluster will look like. And it's gonna be horrible. And I think it's gonna be around like between Canada and the US if you've seen the map. And after that, we get to see more of the gem fusion experiments attacking Peridot and Steven as they try to get out of the kindergarten. But they're saved by the crystal gems, and the crystal gems are about to, blame it all on Peridot, but Peridot stands for Steven. She's like, no, he was doing his job. He was keeping an eye on me. Don't scold him. Like, basically that. And she after having this long look at Steven, decides, okay, crystal gems, like that. She stumbles a bit, but this is the first time that she calls them the crystal gems, without any cynicism. She's like, I'm gonna tell you about the cluster. Like, boom. And I was screaming. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna know more about the cluster. But, oh my god, it will be too soon to know about this because we've known very little information. And yes, I do like it when things are given to you with time and patience, kind of like what Gravity Falls did, even though I did think that revealing the author mid-season 2 was a little bit quick, but I understand why. And so with this, oh god, it's gonna be heavy. I really hope this is gonna be the season finale. I really hope so. It has to be that good. And yes, I'm a big fan. Ooh, Peridot. I really do hope, as many people do on Tumblr, that Peridot joins the Crystal Gems. I've been hoping, alongside the Tumblr community of the Steven Universe, that Lapis would return and be friends with the Crystal Gems, even though she did not have that good of a relationship with the Crystal Gems because she was stuck in a mirror. But maybe with Steven, she kind of gets into the group. But now we have Peridot, and we've seen how she reacts. With just those reactions towards any form of weapon, or what she considers as a weapon, like for example the gem destabilizer that Jasper used, you can slightly see how she reacts to it. She kind of like takes a step back and looks worried. It kind of gives us an idea that someone or something hurt her in the past and was kind of hurt to an extent that she has to await orders, or maybe that kind of lesson was just like pushed into her mind that okay, you have to work and you have to follow orders and blah blah blah. And it kind of also shows us in the last episode that, well, also in I think in Friendship, that she was not grown or designed to be a gem that battles, that goes into combat. She was not designed for that. She was maybe designed or grown to be just a kind of gem that gathers information, or just a tech expert maybe. I don't know. We haven't seen any examples about her using any kind of technology or creating technology outside of gem technology. For example, like with Pearl, Pearl kind of knows how to fix trucks or vans or whatever. And maybe with Peridot, she might be that kind of gem, tech-based. Highly tech-based. But we don't know. And I really, really hope, like at the bottom of my heart or something, like in all of my hopes and dreams, or maybe like that she will become like the next gem, the next crystal gem, hopefully. But we really don't know. I doubt it, but a lot of people called it out on Tumblr. We really hope that she becomes a crystal gem alongside Lapis and maybe even Jasper, because those are the only gems that we've seen, like legitimate gems. Lapis, Jasper, and Peridot, with only the mention of many mentions of Yellow Diamond. We know that she is the bad guy. Well, not really a bad guy. We just know that Yellow Diamond is up to something with the homeworld, and with Lapis Lazuli's information that the homeworld is not what it used to be. Us as the audience, we don't know what homeworld is. We don't know how it works. We don't know how its community is, its society, whatever. But all of us, a lot of us, think that Yellow Diamond is a total bitch. And I find it funny because we have yet to see this character. We have yet to know how she looks like, how she acts, basically what she is, and a lot of people consider her a bitch. Oh my god. And so yeah, I'm saying this right now. I really hope that Peridot becomes the new crystal gem. Hopefully she even gets to learn how to summon a sort of weapon from her gem, kind of like Pearl, like from Boom, like that, getting it out from her gem, because we know that she doesn't know that much about combat, like we've seen with the cannons, that she is not that accustomed to it. She was surprised when the cannon worked, and so maybe she will get a weapon soon without her limb enhancers, but let's see. And I think I've been rambling on a little bit too long, so yeah, that's gonna be enough for today. Hopefully the next episode, which I think it's the barn episode, that's all I know, we might get more information about it, because there's been rumors that the next episode is gonna follow up this one, like very closely. And so let's see what happens. Peridot! Oh, Peridot!